all of these initiatives, when I listed them out, I was like blown away by how much you have done for me and for women in the last, I don't know, 10 months, 9, 10, 10, 11 months.
Yeah.
So as July 29th approaches, I really, really wanted to say thank you for everything you've done and everything you will continue to do going forward to help not only me, but other women. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Catherine Dunphy. Now, Catherine Dunphy is not only my sister-in-law, she is also responsible for several initiatives after my attack. And I really wanted to take the opportunity to thank Catherine for all of her time and energy and efforts into helping me and helping Rob in order to cope, and not only cope but thrive going forward. And you'll see why I say that through our discussion. So welcome, Catherine.
Thank you, Kim. I'm so happy we're doing this.
Me too. It's almost 1 year. July 29th marks the year. And it's interesting because I just last night was having a conversation with Rob, and I was asking him questions kind of like about the events that took place while I was basically out of it. And your name and George's name, your husband, his brother, came up many times. And he said there was a handful of people that really stepped up to help him, support him, and you were one of those people. So perhaps we can talk about some of those initiatives, because I think it would be definitely worthwhile talking about them, not only for how it benefited me, but maybe to give the community ideas of how they can help someone in need, like you helped.
Absolutely. Anything I can do.
Awesome. Okay, so first of all, I was told after I woke up, long after, that you initiated a vigil in Cobourg, where you live. So can you talk a little bit about that vigil?
Sure. Okay, so the vigil kind of came together pretty easily and quickly because I have Cobourg is a really, generous community. And so I had a slew of volunteers, of people that were like, we really want to do what we can to help, I felt the embrace of the community, which I think helped to propel me forward. So what I did was I own a yoga Pilates studio. So I was able to do this yoga retreat, keeping you in mind, or yoga event, keeping you in mind, outdoors at a park in Cobourg. And we had Ilaria Ritchie, who is the lead instructor and director of the studio, lead the group, and she's trained in trauma sensitive yoga. So it was really a beautiful opportunity for everyone to just kind of hold you in their hearts and just think about you, and also to say we've had enough, right? We're tired of women being abused like this, having their lives, interrupted in such drastic, with drastic and lasting ways. So, so what I did was I called my friends and said, I want to do this. It just popped into my head. We're going to do this. And I'm going to set up a trust, and we're going to funnel the money into the trust, and we'll, see how everything comes together. And, the community showed up. Everybody that said they'd helped. People I didn't know showed up and did stuff that really made everything much easier for me. So it was it was really an empowering day. Honorable Minister Miriam Monsa, the minister responsible for women, came and spoke at the event, thanks to the efforts of Kimberley, a local Cobourg citizen who was the former member of parliament. So that was a really encouraging thing. And I had an opportunity to speak with her as we walked along King Street from the park to the police station. So they closed the streets for us. They let that happen, even, during COVID. It was encouraging.
I wondered about
emotional.
that. I was gonna say, some of the pictures that you've shared with me from that event, I noticed people walking down the streets of Cobourg, and I wondered about that. Like, why were people walking? Like, I didn't know that they cordoned off the streets for this walk.
Did.
Like, how did you arrange that?
Well, I asked the police if they could do it, and they did. And I asked the mayor. The mayor of Cobourg was really supportive. He had met you at an event at our business, and he gave a really lovely speech about how full of life and vivacious you are. And I got all choked up, and he was really lovely. I would say everybody that I've talked to with regard to this has been really supportive and encouraged, and really genuine concern about your well-being. And at the time that this happened, you were still asleep. And we didn't know what was going to happen, when it was going to happen. It was just like everything was like floating in the air. It literally felt like gravity didn't exist anymore. Also, time kind of stood still for, even though this event happened in August, it wasn't until I think September that I was like, wait, it's not July anymore.
Right. Oh, and I can totally relate to that, because time kind of did stand still for me. Like, I didn't, I was found on July 29th, and I don't think I really became sort of fully aware of my surroundings until the end of August. So that month, time really did stand still. And it was only after that pieces were put back together for me. And even to this day, pieces are still being put back together, especially because I was groggy in the early stages. So things that were told to me, I forget, right? I forget about them. So, so then this vigil, you had, you gave a really beautiful speech at that vigil, and I'm going to share that speech at the end of this video so that people can hear your words of compassion, your words of impact for women. There's so many nuances in what you said. It was really quite beautiful. So I'll share that at the end of this video. So after the vigil, that wasn't the only thing you did. You did mention about setting up a fundraiser and a trust for me. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that fundraiser.
Sure. Well, we made t-shirts that has the Kimberley Fund on the back.
I have the.
You have one? Yeah. Yes. And it's a She Is Loved. At the that was kind of the hashtag that I was using when I would post on social media about things. So we did that as a fundraiser, and then I had all these people saying, "You're going to do an online auction, or you're going to do something, right? I have something for you." And so I got a slew of merchandise from local businesses and businesses, in Whitby and in Toronto and in Ontario, who really wanted to contribute something to an online fundraiser. And I'm not talking like, little gift certificate. The local shoppers in Cobourg gave us 2 baskets worth. One was 850, the other was 700 and something value. So we got a lot of really nice stuff like guitars and art, original art, and quilts and wine and what else? Like
art,
it seemed like a
paintings.
never painting, photography, poetry, books. Like we got quite a lot of things to put in this online auction. So put it all together, put all the money into the trust account, and then got you a check.
And wow, what a check that was. That was a completely unexpected gift. And I know there was a GoFundMe set up, and that was kind of taking place separately, but you and George, your husband, Rob's brother, spearheaded this. I mean, really, it was you. No, George is there, but you were the one that kind of
made him a signatory. So
yes,
because of that.
Not to discredit anybody, but that was a significant contribution towards helping us, and I can't even tell you how much that helped. Take some relief and pressure off of us, because not being able to work, I mean, basically for a year, I've been unemployed, just healing, and Rob as well had to take several months away from his earning, opportunities too, to take care of me. So that really helped. And I want to thank you for taking the initiative to raise funds for us.
Wow. I felt like, we're family, so we need to do whatever we can to support one another. But then as a woman and as a survivor myself, I was like, what would help? What are the needs that she has that might not be met in other ways? And I know that, it would be encouraging for you to know that so many people had put their support behind you. So I was going to do anything I could to make that happen.
Absolutely. And I am anybody that may be watching this that contributed to Catherine's fundraiser. I want you to know that I am extremely grateful, forever grateful for all the contributions you made, all the people that contributed to the online auction. Like, it was really hard for me to comprehend the generosity of so many people, and it gets me emotional, and I will not cry. It gets me emotional.
I will too.
Yeah. Okay. So no crying allowed. But what it does is it helps you realize that people just want to help, that there's so many good people out there that will do what they can to help complete strangers,
Yes.
And that is one of the things that's really helped me to stay positive,
Yes.
and
absolutely.
And I'm super, super grateful for that. And in case you're wondering, Be Positive is my messaging. This is my Be Positive t-shirts that we had created. So we're both wearing our post event t-shirts to promote
empowering t-shirts.
Empowering t-shirts. Yes. Now, I know after the online auction, you also hosted a yoga vigil at your studio, and can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, we were kind of going back into the COVID situation at that point, so we couldn't have a big event the way we did in August. So we did it online and had people register using our Zoom software that we use for online classes. And you and I and Rob and George got to do the class in person. And it was just an opportunity, a moment to just kind of pause and express thankfulness and gratitude with where we were. It's really hard to comprehend just the emotional avalanche when something like this happens to someone you care about. You're kind of, well, for me anyway, I'm like, okay, something's happened. I can't just sit. I have to do. I'm a doer, right? So I'm like, whatever we can do to draw attention to this issue, to highlight all of the positive things that you were doing with your life, with, you know, completing grad school. I just felt that we needed to do what we could to encourage the process, and also to kind of be a lightning rod for the subject of violence against women and girls, right? Because it's such a pervasive human rights issue. I mean, as you know, I've been doing research and looking at the subject matter, and it's kind of appalling how much we spend per year in Canada just dealing with something like domestic violence or intimate partner abuse. I mean, it costs us billions of dollars a year annually. And not to mention how much of an impact it has on women's lives, like the time they need to take to heal and recover, that lost productivity, that lost income. You know, not everyone deals with the situation like we were in differently. And that should be fine. Everyone should be able to deal with it however they need to.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not like, you know, when this happens, you need the recovery time. You need the patience. You need patience from other people and from society so that you can build back, right? So that you can set new goals and not let this define you. So I feel like you've done a masterful job of that.
Thank you very much. I know for you, perhaps this is something we'll talk about in a moment, but it's very personal to you, and anyone that knows you can understand why you're standing there with your stake in the ground, there to help empower other women. So I'm kind of lucky. I'm benefiting from your previous misfortune, I guess you could say. But I'm also benefiting from your education and your perseverance, your determination, your tenacity. All of those things have truly benefited me, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So this online yoga vigil that you did, I know that was a fundraiser, and the funds didn't go to me this time.
No, you decided that coincidentally on a Giving Tuesday to give the proceeds to the YWCA of Durham. And I was there with you.
Yes.
And it was a little chilly, but you know, it was good.
It was really good. And I wanted to donate those funds, give back, I guess, because I'd been helped so much. But I had a kind of a special soft spot for YWCA Durham because years ago, I taught salsa lessons to the women there over a few sessions, and then so I had a connection to YWCA Durham, so they benefited from those funds, a program initiated by you. So again, people are benefiting from your efforts and initiatives. You're not someone who sits still. No. So one thing that took place not long after I came home, I guess about 6 or 7 weeks after I got home, was an event hosted by the town of Whitby that really blew me away, actually. And I knew that the event was, I guess, started because of what happened to me, but I didn't realize that it would be directed at me, all the messages. So I was really blown away by how wonderful this event was. So can you talk a little bit about the event that you kind of initiated on November the 7th?
Sure. Okay, so there was a previous to the November event, I think you were still in hospital, maybe in rehab at the time. The police services in Durham wanted to do a walk, and so they followed your route. And so I just prior to that, I got an email from a member of town council in Whitby, Deidre Newman, And she said that she had come to the event in Cobourg, but she hadn't been able to make contact with me, and she would like to talk to me. So I usually drive between Whitby and Cobourg a bit because my son takes tennis lessons there. And so she met me at the courts, and we sat and we talked, and she talked about how she liked the town to do something to honor you and your resiliency. And I'm like, absolutely, let's do it. I originally had like really grand ideas of closing off the street, but it just wasn't feasible. And it was in the time that we had to coordinate all of that. So we did this kind of love letter to you in a way. And it was the town recorded it and had it edited. And it was this beautiful opportunity to just kind of call everyone's attention to the moment of, you know, of what happened to you, but also to say, you know, that that how grateful the town was that you have been so resilient, but also to celebrate the fact that you have not backed down, you know. And that resonated with me quite a lot because, you know, after everything happened, you know, and I found out the events that had transpired, I mean, yes, there were a lot of tears in my house and a lot of anxiety, but then I had a lot of anger and frustration. And instead of turning that anger inward or being destructive, I'm like, how can I use it to make an impact? Because I didn't want to be afraid, you know. And I know even George, my husband, was afraid and was
For
concerned for me, but also himself. He was like, we didn't know who this person was, if they could target us as family members.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talk in the media at the time, and everybody, like family members, were really kind of anxious. We're like, oh, people know who we are. And, you know, that was very unnerving.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I am not going to be afraid. I am not going to back down. This is, you know, I'm not going to shrivel into nothing because something terrible happened. It was not our fault. It was not Kim's fault. You know, she should be able to walk anywhere she fucking wants to.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what I said. And that's the first thing I posted about it. Women should be able to walk wherever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for the foul language, but you know what? I was really pissed, and I'm still really pissed off about the fact that women have to endure the invisible grasp of, you know, potential threat, because that's really what it is. You're walking around feeling threatened constantly, and, you know, as someone who has PTSD, I know what that's like on an intimate level. But in reality, all women are confined by that invisible structure. It's something we all think about. And I think that, you know, it's not right that it is this thread that a continuity throughout our life, that, you know, there is a constant threat to your personal safety just because you're a woman.
Yes, absolutely. And the event that you initiated, that you and Deidre, I guess, initiated, and I will be interviewing Deidre. I'm really excited to say about the event. Really, you had several speakers at that event, and who kind of talked to how we really need to put an end to gender-based violence. And a lot of the speakers were men, and men, including our husbands, are recognizing the need for men to have a voice and to impact the change, because we often talk about it as a woman's issue, but it's really not. It's a men's issue, because it's men that are perpetrating the violence against women. So it's an interesting discussion that, quite honestly, until this happened to me, it's not really something I thought about. And to an extent, yes, but I walked and I felt safe, and that was, you know, part of the problem. I don't know. I never really looked behind me. I didn't, because I never thought, like, why should I have to? But I know that having gone through this experience, that it's a lot of women's reality, that they're afraid even just to go for a walk, right? So we need to put a stop to that. And this leads to another initiative, an amazing initiative of Catherine Dunphy that I'm privileged to have my name attached to. But can you talk a bit about what we have to look forward to in the future?
Well, you know, I'm one of those people that, okay, we did this, then we did that. Is there anything else on the agenda that we could do? I mean, I have to add in right now that there were a lot of women that I met a lot of new women talking about your story on social media. And some of those women approached me, and I was like, man, it would be great to work with them because they have all of these skills. Thinking of Lisa Kirby, who is a lobbyist, Catherine Marshall, who's a lawyer, from different political backgrounds, but can come together on this particular issue, which I think is really crucial for things to be nonpartisan. And so I was like, okay, we're just going to do this, and we're going to create a new nonprofit with the objective of helping to eradicate violence against women and girls. And how do we do that? Well, we need to engage, right? And so that's kind of what's the percolation process of what has become the Kimberley Project. So we are a new nonprofit, or at least we're in the process of becoming a new nonprofit. We have our nonprofit number, but we don't have our status quite yet. But I'm working diligently to get all of the little ducks in a row and dot my I's and cross my T's, so that we can take donations and start doing the work that we know needs to happen. So, because I think, you know, I don't want to shame men into taking responsibility for the issue of violence against women. I want them to be engaged with the issue so that if they see things that they contribute to what people call rape culture, or things that are misogynistic, that they are like, oh, that's not cool. You know, and I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done on understanding masculinity, not just as a chest beating alpha male, but as in a caring, full spectrum of emotion individual as a person, right? Because I think that the patriarchy and misogyny hurts men as much as it hurts women. Yes. Because, you know, they're confined by you're not allowed to show emotions. If you do this, you're like a girl, you know, all of these derogatory comments. So I really feel for men that are in that position, but it's going to take really brave men to say, you know what, I'm going to stand with these women and say enough is enough. You know, I'm looking forward to hearing that again and again and again and again until we get this problem eradicated.
Well, I am super excited to be involved with this initiative. It's the name of the nonprofit is the Kimberley Project. And we started off as, well, originally it was the Kimberley Fund. And then the fund kind of, wasn't just about raising money. So Catherine tried to get the Kimberley Foundation, but as it turns out, in BC, there's already a Kimberley Foundation, which makes sense because of Kimberley, BC. So she came up with the Kimberley Project, and I really like that because project should say projects almost, because a lot of initiatives going forward, I mean, will be involved in projects, and not only bringing awareness to things, but like Catherine said, engaging with people, engaging with men, especially, and helping boys. Like Catherine has a son, I have a son, my husband has 2 sons. So what messages are we sharing with those boys about how to view women, and what things, you know, maybe they take for granted or okay, but they're actually microaggressions against women,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
it's changing the conversation, right? So I'm super excited and so very grateful that you're doing this. I mean, this is not a paid gig. This
No.
is all blood, sweat, and tears and heart and soul, and
It is.
all from you. So thank you for that.
No.
Thank you.
I'm just really happy I get to work with you. So
Me too. I'm excited for what the future holds, and things will take shape as they will. But so all of these initiatives, when I listed them out, I was like blown away by how much you have done for me and for women in the last, I don't know, 10 months, 9, 10, 10, 11 months.
yeah.
So as July 29th approaches, I really, really wanted to say thank you for everything you've done and everything you will continue to do going forward to help not only me, but other women. Thank you.
Oh, well, it was an honor to do whatever I can. I feel like people can surprise themselves and get more accomplished than they think. You know, and I would say everyone needs to find that inner advocate and let that person shine.
Absolutely. I agree. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to end this video with the audio footage from Catherine's beautiful speech at the initial yoga and meditation vigil that you hosted for me. Thank you, Catherine Dunphy, and girl power. Woohoo.
Yes, girl power.
Thank you so much.
Catherine Dunphy for Take Back the Night, Cobourg, Northumberland. Women are all too familiar with a sense of being chased by an omnipresent but invisible threat. Yet we do our best to go about our days, find joy, accomplish goals, raise children, and even, like my sister-in-law, go back to school. Every so often, one of us is swept up in a collision of events where she is reduced to a means, robbed of her personhood at the hands of a predator, and we are all left reeling. My dear, sweet, kind, and loving sister-in-law was an innocent victim, just trying to clear her head as she worked to complete her goal of defending her master's thesis, when this person forced his way into her narrative. This man brutally assaulted her and left her for dead. He had no right to touch her, no right to rob her of her dreams, to impede her progress, to quell her happiness. She is a mother, a wife, a friend, a sister, a daughter, a student, a teacher. She matters. Violence against women is the only crime in Canada that is increasing. We must end it. No more lives lost. No more physical abuse and sexual exploitation. It is our responsibility to change how we raise our children, to amend legislation, to create systems that protect the public, and to ensure mandatory sentencing for all sexual and violent offenders. Help me end violence against women now. No more victims. Let's do it together.